Today we're going to talk about multiplying square roots. Just some ideas to review. Remember that we've said if you have the square root of a times b, that's the same thing as the square root of a times the square root of b. And that means that the reverse must be true. The square root of a times the square root of b must be what you get when you multiply the two radicands together. For example, if you had the square root of 5 and you were or square root of 3 and you were multiplying it by the square root of 5, well, since 3 times 5 is 15, it'd be the square root of 15. And that doesn't simplify, so that would stop there. Something different might be the square root of 2 times the square root of 8. Well, that's just the square root of 16. And that simplifies, so it goes further to just 4. So sometimes we can't simplify, sometimes we can. When we can, we do. Let's try a couple more. You try the square root of 2 times the square root of 6. And then when you're done, see what you think about 4 square root of 3 times 2 square root of 12. Go ahead and hit pause and see what you think. Well, how'd you do? Well, the square root of 2 times the square root of 6 is the square root of 12. But that'll simplify because 12 is 4 times 3, which means this just becomes 2 square root of 3 because the square root of 4 is 2. Now hopefully you thought through this and noticed that, oh, well, 4 times 2, that would be 8. Square root of 3 times 12, well, 3 times 12 is 36, so that would be 8 root 36. But the square root of 36 is 6, so 8 times 6 is 48. You could have done this another way, but that would have been a good way to do it. Let's try some more. Why don't you hit pause and try these two. The square root of 3 times the square root of 6, and 2 square root of 6 times 3 square root of 12. Let's see how you did. Square root of 3 times the square root of 6 would be the square root of 18. But since 18 is 9 times 2, and this would just simplify down to this 3 times the square root of 2. What about the next one? I'm going to work down. Well, this would be 6 times the square root of 72. But since 72 is 36 times 2, and that means this would become 6 times 6 times the square root of 2, or 36 square root of 2. Let's try 2 more. Try these two. We've got 6 root 2 times 3 root 10, and 3 root 2 times 2 root 30. Well, how'd you do? 6 times 3 is 18, times the square root of 20. But since 20, it's ugly 18, since 20 is 4 times 5, that means this would be 18 times 2, because that's what the square root of 4 is, times the square root of 5. And 18 times 2 is 36. Last one. 3 times 2 is 6. This would be 6 root 60. How are we going to think about 60? Well, it's 4 times 15. It's the only perfect square. Square root of 4 is 2, so 6 times 2 times the square root of 15. 15 is just 5 times 3, so that's not going to simplify. So we get 12 square root of 15, and it doesn't go any further.